most picked teams for Crystal Ball to win the World Championship.
We could not start group stages in a more exciting way. The previous 2 world champions going right at each other, jumping into pick bans. Pick bans at the start of groups are also the most exciting because you get to see what they've been working on over the course of these last few weeks in the boot camp. And already some interesting adjustments coming out. Lee Sin off the bat immediately from the side of FPX there. It is still Canyon's most played, even though Tian does have a world champion skin on it.
Yeah, he certainly does. I am really excited to see how things are panning out. I love the respect that we're actually seeing here from Damwon as well with the Aurelia ban towards Doinby. It's one of his most scary champions. The Lucian also being taken off the board with the TF finally rounding out against Showmaker. This means that things like Misfortune should be very high priority lock in. But are we? No.
No one first picks Yuumi. There's no.
Are you sure?
Oh, okay.
That's the first pick.
Yeah. Okay, we got a 100% pick rate on Yuumi in the group stage of the World Championship. I'm excited. We had Mithy talk about it. He said the meta game is gonna be different. Champ Select is gonna be different here, and so far it is.
So we also have this whole big story, how important it is for these roaming supports impacting the map. You know, mid, jungle, support, all these crazy plays are gonna make it. They first lock in Yuumi here. Immediate thing that says to me is that your bottom lane phase cannot be super strong. There's not a super strong early lane phase for any Yuumi lane. I don't care what AD carry you're picking. So I'm already floating around things like the Ezreal. They banned out the Aphelios already from their side. And meanwhile, we'll see about this FPX answer.
Okay, but the high priority on the Jarvan as well. You do have that flexibility. I have seen Doinby playing some Jarvan mid in solo queue. And so you have to remember that it can go into the mid lane, into the jungle, into the top lane, and FPX have a lot of flexibility of that. They are going to go back to the old school Kai'Sa that we saw back in the 2019 World Championship that was very prevalent and popular, in particular towards LWX, as Damwon are going to round out with. You said there are no strong AD carry. I feel like the Misfortune in lane can offer quite a lot of power depending on what they're playing against.
Yeah, but compared with the Yuumi, not going to be like a huge bully lane. Meanwhile, the biggest thing to me is seeing this Jarvan lock-in from FPX. It's always been a staple in the LPL. Brings up Doinby's Galio. That is just such a sweet combo that they can pull off. If they let it, I feel like, go through this phase. You know, seeing the LeBlanc already kind of deters it a little bit. A bit of annoying lane there. But if it does go past here, might hit the bans.
And I like going for an aggro pick down here in the bot lane. Misfortune does not have a dash, and Yuumi does not really save champions very well. You've got a shield, you've got a heal, but you're not going to have a cleanse for a very long time. Jarvan locks into Cataclysm, Nautilus lands a hook. You don't have a way of playing around that.
Yeah, and I like the answers to early Yuumi picks are always try and kill this lane. Try and punish this lane early. Get those kills. Nautilus, perfect for that. Plus, if you get that lane kill on bottom side, then guess what? You open up your support to roam. Crisp is one of the best at it. And with Nautilus, you definitely have a lot of CC to add to any sort of Jarvan picks.
Now I want to see what Canyon goes for. He is, I would say, the big playmaker of Damwon Kia. He's going to be on some kind of strong fighter. We're probably seeing a Gore Drinker out of him. And yeah, you get into 18, 20 minutes into the game, Barrel's going to be constantly just on top of Canyon, just buffing him up, and that's going to be the big carry. Some kind of melee fighter who's going to love the extra healing, going to get the synergies going, and that's where this comp is kind of headed. And, you know, Ghost, he'll get to the laning phase, he'll get Yuumi some XP, and then he's going to clear waves in mid, and he's going to let jungle and top and mid do all the plays with Yuumi bouncing around, and that's the play style. So kind of waiting for that to get through. That's kind of the play. As now the final bans come out, Ken and Rise at the table, the Xin Zhao and Talon, right? Those are the kinds of we're talking about, big Gore Drinker users who want to just have the Yuumi haste and get their stuff done. Okay, now find the other half of the comp.
I feel like right now Damwon is just missing a lot of frontline, a lot of engage, because while they do have a lot of damage available to them, in particular with the Misfortune, I think you need a lot of setup. You can already see that with FPX's comp, they have great ways to start fight, they have a lot of damage in the fights, and they offer a huge amount of utility. And rounding out with the Jace, you can clearly see that FPX is looking to play more towards topside and see if they can shut Khan down.
I'm actually so excited for the Nuggery versus Khan, a 1v1 throwdown of basically the only players that have changed on these two teams, just kind of the trade deal that has been hotly debated. Guess what? Jace is the most played for both of them.
It is.
This is the iconic champion here for Nuggery to try and take down the former FPX member. Let's see how they round it out, though. The Graves coming through here for probably jungle. We'll see. We'll
I think top, though, right?
On the last.
Isn't Graves top that champion that we've been seeing so much more up towards the top side of the map? And right now with the Trundle Hover, now locking, it seems like that they are going to match that into the Jace. So right now, my biggest concern for Damwon's composition is a clear lack of utility. Yes, they do have the Yumi's ultimate. Perhaps they can use it as a disengage. They have a huge amount of mobility and tools to kind of disrupt. But FPX has talked about it. So much dive. You throw up the speed boost from the Jace. You have the Jarvan engage. You have the Galio follow-up. You have the Nautilus ultimate. So much crowd control. So much teamfight ability with LWX being the primary carry to dish out that damage.
Yeah, as soon as you see the early lock-in on Jarvan, yeah, I gotta feel that the Galio is coming. They do lock it in. Do and beat Galio, one of the most successful. This plays right into how he likes to play the game, impacting the other lanes, following up on jungle pressure. He can go either top or bottom side. So it's a really nice setup here from FPX. He's got all options open to him.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't been watching LPL for a while, let's just point out, FPX are the aggro team of the LPL. They're top 2 in kills per minute and wins. They're top 2 in deaths in wins as well. Like, they will fight, they will die, but they will fight and kill you. They battle constantly. The Jarvan Galio, yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Gotta spend money to make money.
Yeah, and if everyone watched Do&B at the last World Championship 2 years ago, we saw the Malphite game, we saw the Nautilus game. Oh, he plays these weird picks. Like, you've heard about the Kled. He is the DPM leader of the LPL. And yes, that goes into, well, they're fighting all the time. Of course he's going to have high damage, but he does more damage than every other mid laner in the league. He is, I would say, the focal point of the squad. He's on the Galio. I'm expecting him to run around constantly, and I just see if Showmeg can keep him in check at all.
I mean, this is the LPL MVP that we're talking about right now. He did have an impressive run throughout the playoffs as well, only falling short in the finals. Both of these teams are incredibly hyped up coming into the World Championships, considered top 2, at least top 3 by many analysts all over the world. We could not start Worlds with a better matchup. FPX versus Damwon, guaranteed to be a banger, and we're already onto the Rift.
Alrighty, the World Championship group stage has begun. We get a nice shot of Nautilus leading the charge, and it's the defending world champions against the team that took that trophy from them. Of course, FPX weren't there last year to defend their title, but they're here to take it back now, up against the defending world champions. Dom1 Kia just fell short of the MSI final, but they are back to kind of remain the top team in the world.
Yeah, there are so many stories connecting these two teams and all of these players. One of my favorites is that of the top lane of Khan and Nuguri, because those are the two that change places on these two teams. And I remember Ashley actually asked Khan, which top laner would you like to play most? In the year when he first rejoined the LCK and rejoined Dom1, and he's like, I don't care about any of them except for Nuguri, because he is the world champion. He's the one I want to play against, but he's not an LCK anymore, so I don't get the chance. Guess what, Khan? Here's your chance versus Nuguri on the world stage in group stages against Jace. Better put up now.
Yeah.
Versus Jace. Going to be an interesting matchup for sure. Let's have a look at where the junglers are pathing right now. It does look like Tian going to start on the bot side of the map, make his way up towards top. Kind of what we expected looking at the draft. FPX going for a little bit more of a top side focused matchup. I'm curious as to how Damwon want to play around this Yuumi lane. Will Beryl actually just sit in lane, or will he actually look to roam with his jungler? I'm sure you've experienced just sometimes Yuumi sit on top of their junglers and actually roam around and cause terror on the Rift.
See, I have experienced that in solo queue. First hook does land. That's going to be a good trade.
Of course, the instant exhaust force Ignite down as well, and the trade goes pretty well as ultimately Nautilus lands the hook. It doesn't have any follow-up damage, but its summoners down, right? 2 burn to the Dom1 Kia side, only 1 burn for Fun plus Phoenix as LWX can heal back up.
And you see, Vidius, the problem with having experienced that in solo queue is when the Yuumi jumps on the jungler and roams around on the jungler in solo queue, it's because their AD carry is feeding and they're fighting. And they're like, I am out of here. This guy sucks. I'm getting on anybody else. So hopefully for them, that's not the way it plays out for Ghost. Because Ghost, you know, obviously has been the most critiqued player on this team throughout the years. They even replaced the bottom lane for a little bit in the LCK, give them a little bit of a break, and they're back. So see how they can play here with the Yuumi. I mean, honestly, yeah, how many scenarios did you have where we start out first game of groups with a first pick Yuumi? Probably in the 1% area.
Well, I had heard some rumblings, but I was like, it's just, you know, it's whatever. I'm sure that they can't be that serious, but no. It turns out that Yuumi just offers so much power later into the game as well. The scaling that she can contribute is something that teams clearly show a lot of respect towards. And I mean, we already saw it with the increase of Nami popularity, but it was in particular with the Lucian. But let's have a look look at these junglers now, because Tian will be spotted out on a ward, is hovering around the top side of the map with Canyon on the bot and Vision in both tri-brushes. Can't imagine that a huge amount of action is going to pop off in this moment. Right now, the priority just seems to be the Scuttlecraft.
And I really like you mentioned the scaling, because that's the big thing for Yuumi. Becomes a monster later in the game. You know, healing cutting is going to be a necessity. Grievous wounds will have to be fit in somewhere. Otherwise, you will not be able to kill the carry. You're already facing, you know, a team that has Trundle on it already as well, so plenty of healing that you're going to want to cut through there. But if you put Yuumi on an assassin like LeBlanc, and especially if it's Showmaker's LeBlanc that gets, you know, say an early lead from laning against a Galio, things can get very, very scary. It gives you that extra AP, gives you that extra burst damage and survivability. So far, though, lane taking care of itself for them as they harass LWX and Crisp under the tower, too.
Yeah. Well, you can see 2 CS difference, but hey, being up 2 CS and your summon is coming back from cooldown shortly, that is a really good job surviving the first few levels of Yuumi. Lethality is going to go up over time. Level 5 is going to be a big spike when you get 3 points in the Kaisa Q, and the burst can start getting really, really nasty. But for the meantime, it's been pretty good. Nice little zombie ward makes Tian's move do almost nothing. Of course, now he's in fog, so to be a little bit safe.
So what was really interesting about that was Tian assumed that because the prio that Ghost and Beryl had, they'd actually dropped a ward onto his Grom. So he took a path that actually tried to go around that so that he wouldn't be spotted, and he could try and catch this bot lane off guard. But because of the vision that they have in River and in the tri-brush, they actually had it perfectly set up to cover for any early game gank from Tian. So really good awareness there from the Damwon bot lane to be able to respect that. And kind of funny how Tian showed that much respect, but didn't actually end up playing around that vision.
And it's the main story of the early game for this champion select is how Trundle can power farm through and avoid the interactions of Jarvan's ganks. You know, Tian on top side, walk through tri-brush ward, as you're mentioning on bottom side as well, fully route around. So Damwon doing a good job keeping track of that Jarvan early on. That has the scarier ganks on his side. Meanwhile, Canyon farming right along on that Trundle. Already got his Predator boots as well. Didn't mention the Predator early on, but it is a Predator Trundle. Usually it's press the attack for the burst damage, but the Predator is active on your screen. He can run fast, but not fast enough, Freak.
He runs fast enough to, force the flash out of Nuggery. So that means next time around, this could be lethal. Keep in mind, right, Jace, one of the champions with the out defensive move block. So if you can find that gank around next time, he's got to slowly walk through the play, and it's not going to look very good. Goes for a quick trade. Keep in mind it is Conqueror Jace, not the phase rest. You also don't have that as a play around the slow. But Doumbé is here. He's got his own Predator. Going to find himself the taunt and the knockup. And Khan will flash to safety.
So Khan was trying his best not to burn the flash there, but the bonus... Oh, hang on. Canyon just going in.
Ignite, pillar, damage. Doumbé going to get himself the knockup and flash away. He will just survive the ignite, but the TV's coming in for a little bit more as Showmaker wants in. Channeling the taunt, not going to find it. Good patience. And Showmaker gets first blood of the group stage as it's a 1-0 game for Damwon Kia.
First blood to Showmaker's LeBlanc. That is going to be painful for FPX as he roams up there. Beryl, we're talking about, is the Yuumi going to get those roams out with jungler? Yes, up to the top side there for the Yuumi, for Beryl. Does pull it off as Blast Cone enables Canyon to start it out, and Teleport enables Showmaker to finish it off.
So what was really crucial there as well was Doumbé did an earlier back to actually be able to get a roam up top and actually had the level advantage over Showmaker. But the moment they actually executed on this play, you can see the LeBlanc still isn't actually level 6 yet and wants to base. So FPX have a really big tempo advantage here with their support Crisp moving up as well. So this initial play looks very promising, but they know now that Khan has TP and LeBlanc has TP, and they can go for the re-engage.
And you start to question it there. When you see the Graves ultimate on Doumbé and the tower shot chunking him to 50%, that's within striking distance there for Showmaker. So Blast Cone over, nicely executed there as Canyon chunks him out, and Showmaker's happy to collect on that first blood money.
Yeah, TP gets you 400 gold and 200 shared across your teammates for the assist, so that's going to feel pretty good. 1,000, 1,100 gold lead to Damwon. Already a good start here. Fun plus Phoenix, they go from like a 95% win rate with a gold lead at 15 to 46 if they're not ahead.
That's
at
still
15.
pretty good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they're really, really good. But the point still stands that, okay, hey, if you knock them down, you suddenly, knock them, one of the world's favorites, to a negative win rate, and obviously Damwon Kia themselves, no big slouches. If you compare them domestically, FunPlus are supposed to be the better early game team. They're like record shattering in a lot of early game categories. Damwon Kia are like neutral, for reference, they got 0 first heralds for their entire playoff run. Where they won. They went 6-1 in playoffs. They got 0 first heralds. They just like didn't get top pressure for any of the games. They still won most of them. And here we are in a game where they might get their first herald of the postseason.
And they're the ones with the Yuumi on the team as well, so feel quite good about the early stages and how this one is progressing. Here's the Rift Herald you're talking about. Freak does get scouted out, ward over the wall in the back pit though, and Tien moves over. Galio ult is available for Doinb, by the way.
Bit of poke coming out from Tien, just trying to put a bit of pressure down as Canyon now actually looking to pressure Tien here, but I don't think too much is going to happen off the back of it.
I am just loving this Predator trundle. Predator again, get that extra move speed up to bite him. One quick bite in the butt and then right back into the river. I mean, the only things you give up, I guess, towards the later stages with press the attack, yeah, is a tiny bit of burst damage. That's really good for earlier in the game, but also the exposure can be nice in some instances. Having the Predator, though, we'll see about that mobility and how it does affect them. They immediately transition off of that top side gank into the Rift Herald again, and it's about to go down.
Looking to go for a smite fight, though. He's going to jump in, hit the eye, and Canyon lands the smite. They're going to find themselves Herald. Flash to grab it, and he gets the kill thanks to Subjugate. This is looking pretty good. Canyon, though, doesn't have a good way out. They will finally get the first kill of the game, but Showmaker still trades one back. Now Nuggery, left alone, doesn't have a flash, doesn't have a way out, and it's a 4-1, 5-1 game because in bot lane, we've got a tower dive. Misfortune Yuumi shows up, and LWX falls down.
Oh, Misfortune Yuumi can run him down. Freak, all the extra move speed there. They chase LWX right between the towers, flash blown, heal blown, still getting the kill. This is a disaster for FPX.
Such a massive early game lead for Damwon as well, and a lot of that came off the back of Crisp trying to rotate up to assist with his team in fighting for this Herald, but that only ends up punishing LWX, and Damwon are just finding advantages across the board. Look at the goal differences, in particular in mid lane. Showmaker is dominating in this early game.
All right, so Rift Herald combat tactics here. The eye will stop exposing itself if Rift Herald has 15% or less health. And the actual hit on the eyeball does 12%. So you'll always have to do a little bit more damage if it just opened up, and the smite is what finishes it there. So they're able to get the Rift Herald, they're able to get the kills afterwards. There's their Misfortune ultimate to finish it off after the flash, and the exhaust is there for the extra slow, so he can't walk out of it either. It's just a high five all around for the Damwon coaching staff.
Yeah, you know, they staffed up this year, right? Koma's in there, 3-time world champion. Man, the man played competitive jungle at 27. He played in OGN Champions or the Sub League, and he's 35 now. He's looking for his 4th world championship. Feels pretty good. But yeah, good stuff there. And yeah, I mean, Damwon Kia fans and staff and players alike can be really happy about the fact that they are crushing one of the tournament favorites.
So I think one of the biggest things that we've been seeing here is that Damwon just got priority pretty much across the board. Taeyeon is looking for something here, but Jarvan versus LeBlanc. Any Jarvan player knows that this is not a very easy game to make, but they've been able to consistently push in the bot lane 2 versus 2 once they got a couple levels under their belt. Showmaker has had consistent control over the mid lane, and Khan, outside of getting ganked, has done a really good job in the 1v1, but now he's in a 1v2.
Okay, Khan, he's still got flash, he's got the ult, he's got ways to get out, but they want to hold cooldowns and knows, actually, I can just walk the rest of the way out, makes it happen. Mid lane turret falling rapidly. This turret's losing all of its health, and they may just finish it off with the Herald here as well. Doinb can do his best to wave clear, but first turret is going down at 12 minutes.
Huge stuff here for Damwon. Really the only person that is going to have to watch themselves towards the later stages of the game as far as the scary engage of Jarvan, Galio, Nautilus is mainly going to be Ghost on the MF, because as you're mentioning, you know, Showmaker on LeBlanc, plenty of escapes for that engage, so many dashes. Khan as well. Graves has 2 built into the kit with the ultimate and the dash. So as long as Ghost has good positioning, it should be easy mid-game map control for Damwon, and FPX are going to try and force through, try and get those Nautilus ultimates into Galio plus Jarvan combination, but they shouldn't actually be able to pin down any target.
You know, Kobe, it's funny that you say that, because I have met some MFs with a Yuumi on them that have just face tanked as much damage as I've tried to throw at them before. So I'm very curious as to how well Ghost is going to do. Of course, he does still have his flash, but as you rightly said, with so much mobility on the side of Damwon, I'm curious as to how much of this utility will actually work out for FPX, because the problem that they find themselves in now is, yes, they do actually have pretty strong team fighting. They have a lot of tools to start off a fight and follow up one after the other and look to try and fight around these neutral objectives. But given the early game deficit that they're in, when it comes to these fights, they might just be too far behind to actually go toe-to-toe with Damwon, even if they get a good setup.
Canyon nearly picks up Nuggery as well. He had managed to run back in time to not be cut off by Predator plus the terrain. It was a close one. Like, that was a second away, maybe, from being a forced flash. So the instincts were there, but you can see how lethal Canyon is with all the move speed, trying to get that fourth turret plate out of top lane. They'll get it next shotgun blast, so yeah, that's going to be money earned. Only one plate taken out of bot lane. It's okay. They're getting all the pressure out of mid and top as they've farmed 10 turret plates and first tower so far this game. So again, a huge early game. 5,000 gold lead is absurd at 14 minutes. They are completely slaughtering this game still.
And they should continue on with the strategy of splitting the map. As you're talking about, hyping up this extra mobility for the team, they can easily continue with the split pushing. Showmaker's now level 11. He's got plenty of money in the bank here, has already completely run by the early item thresholds. And this is my choice for the champion for Yuumi to jump on. It's so incredibly annoying if you slap the Yuumi on top of Showmaker LeBlanc. Side lanes are unanswerable, basically. And you mentioned, oh, yeah, the MF can, like, face tank it. Well, guess what? The LeBlanc buys even more time. We'll get multiple heals, plus the move speed, plus all the dashes. It just becomes nigh impossible to chase down someone like that, especially with the early kills.
Sometimes in LeBlanc games, what you'll see is either the LeBlanc will shadow a side laner or someone will shadow the LeBlanc. You don't need to do that if you just put a Yuumi on him. And then out of Fog of War, the LeBlanc comes, one-shots you, and then you think, oh, she's just trying to poke me down. Oh, no, because she has a Yuumi, so she can now chase you down. So I fully agree with you, Kobe, that LeBlanc-Yuumi combo can be devastating, and I think we're really starting to see some of the power of Yuumi. Many solo queue players have been complaining about it, and now it's making its way into pro.
And this is what I want out of the first game of group stages. You know, something that we didn't get to see in play-ins, something that is going to have rippling effects as far as the next few days go, because Damwon are executing on it so well here. When you see it come out like this, early first pick, no big answers from FPX, and have such success here. Rift Herald number 2, obviously, probably going to go down as well, top tower. So the map is going to be wide open for them. There's going to be so much territory for them to split push with. So much territory for Showmaker on this LeBlanc to get into Fog of War, look for those picks.
So you can see right now on the cross map happening that when it comes to what Damwon is doing, they're investing in the Herald, they have the push in top, and they will be able to control the mid wave as well. Doinby doing what he can to try and get the bot lane tower. You can also see all the vision that has been invested towards the bot side of the map. So at the very least, FPX have good setup for the next Drake, and Damwon will be forced to use their vision to clear out their bot side of the jungle, because there is a real risk of any potential TP flanks or engages coming from FPX as the next Drake spawns in about a minute's time.
So we're looking at that timer. Obviously, the Rift Scuttle down at the bottom side is going to easily despawn before that happens. Canyon and Barrel, they have been very commonly, if they're grouped together. Support jungle is not exactly an uncommon pairing, but they're really, conjoined here in this regard, and it gives them all the ward control. They get to get rid of all the vision. FPX, again, trying to counterpunch as best they can, getting some stuff done topside. They have gotten a single turret with bot lane dying, but hey, look, here's a Rift Herald, here's bot lane turret dying, and just the pace is still too good from Damwon Kia.
Yeah, and they won't have to let up on that pace. You can run this Rift Herald straight into turret number 2. Still to this day, after the changes to the extra gold in secondary turrets on side lanes, I think they are underrated by so many teams still. These are big objectives, huge cash in, bunch of extra gold here for the side of Damwon, being able to get 2 on the bottom side as far as the tower goes. And Canyon.
Ooh, the flash to block Doinby. Canyon is down 3 levels and thinks he can beat the opposing mid laner. So far, so good. Khan and Showmaker are on the way. He's going to jump out, but no, gets stopped by the pillar. Doinby has enough health to survive for now, but a flash follow. Khan kills him over the wall, gets the shield bow pop, but LWX is on the chase, gets the missing health pop, and they should have enough damage, and he will go down. A 1-for-1 after all that.
Wow, I can't believe FPX actually just tried to save their boy there. They could have just looked to trade it for a Drake. So many members of Damwon were committing to the top side, but they said, no, we want to fight, we want to try and save him, but now Showmaker has caught Crisp out of position, and I don't think he's going to get out of this one.
No. This is a dead Nautilus.
Yeah, Nautilus literally one of the slowest move speed champs in the game.
Yes.
With a LeBlanc Yuumi after you and a whole team to back him up. You know, rest in peace there, Chris. Nice effort from the side of FPX, but as you say, they actually are punished for trying to save their boy and give over quite a bit here to Dom1. Chase from Canyon was nice. You know, the slow there off the smite lets him get within distance for the flashes to block the Justice Punch. DoinB is able to get up to the top side, but teleport and the early flank there from Graves give him the inside route.
So looking at the minimap, I noticed that Noguri was actually just pushed all the way underneath this tower, so I understand why FPX decided not to actually trade for the Drake. They just collapse through mid, they try to go up through the river to try and get ahead of Dom1, and if it worked for that TP from Showmaker, then I think FPX could have been in a better position, but thanks to Showmaker's great awareness and of course the damage that he brings on this LeBlanc, they were able to come out on top. So well played for Dom1, they continue to extend the kill lead, they secure themselves the second Drake, and FPX is falling further and further behind.
I will say though, the gold lead has at least flattened somewhat, right? It's kind of remained at 5,000. Not that FPX are really coming back, but at least that the gold graph has kind of remained, you know, with you know, X equals whatever.
That is some copium.
I mean, yeah, it's like, hey, we're getting smashed, but at least it's not getting worse yet. You know, Dragon Soul is like 9 minutes away.
I mean, I
There's
look at items and I'm like, I think it's getting worse. 2 items now finished pretty much on every single member of Dom1 except for their jungler. And also, they've already got anti-heal finished for Beryl as well. So I think that FPX, the best thing they can hope for is wait a little bit longer, secure that second item, and then look for a very strong team fight in the hopes that they can get something back. Because again, they do still have that powerful 5v5 if they can get the optimal setup.
You know what's wild? If Tian's E was up, he could have just EQR'd and force flashed at a Ghost, but I don't think they knew if any teammates were nearby. They had no deep vision. Ghost was alone on MF. That is like guaranteed flash force, but he's like, but if they're there, we die.
Yeah,
and so he just didn't go for it.
It's the problems of being so far behind at this point. You know, so much territory now belonging to Dom1, allowing even Yuumi to roam around unassisted at the moment. And we mentioned, yeah, the grievous wounds are going to be so important, literally like at minute 2. That was for FPX. They don't have any extra money to buy any, so no healing cutting against the Trundle, not against the Yuumi either.
How annoying is that?
Khan as well has insane lifesteal right now because he went shield bow into Bloodthirster.
Yep. Here we go, 4 lifesteal items, 4 healing items in the squad, and here comes the push towards top. Fun plus Phoenix, will they defend top lane tier 2? It's a pretty big gold prize if it happens. Tian taking actually pretty meaningful poke from Barrel's Qs as the Yuumi keeps scaling, and he's gonna have to jump over, take some decent damage, but does not get fully tagged up by Showmaker, so stays alive. But now, Primary Engage is kind of out of there. Crisp is frontlining and just, your team's nowhere nearby. How are you there? 8th kill goes over. This turret's gone.
Yeah, and guess what? We're towards the later stages of the game. We say this at only 21 minutes.
Yeah.
But these are the stages where, yeah, guess what? Yuumi is on that LeBlanc. It becomes so insanely difficult to do anything about this poke. Already, when you're facing a normal LeBlanc, you're looking at, we need some sort of point-and-click CC to actually stop the poke, stop this harassment. And yet, when you add a Yuumi on top and you don't have easy answers to it, it just gives them free reign there. So Cosmic Drive is finished. Plenty of extra cooldown reduction and speed there as well for him.
And Khan's back to full. And, you know, narrowly missed the root off of the Everfrost, and then he autos the wave a little bit, gets a couple of Yuumi heals, and back to completely safe. Showmaker takes, he gets the big Raptor as well, so, you know, 90% of the camp goes to him.
Oh, come on, let him have a crumb. Just a crumb, freak.
Insults injury, man. Crumbs only allowed in NA, all right? Nothing here at Worlds, and this is going to be Dom1 Kia continuing to roll over from plus Phoenix. That gold lead is now up to 7,000.
And I think a lot of this starts with the draft, because
I really thought you were going to say success there. Whoa, close one.
I think that one of the great things about FPX, Freak, you highlighted, they're a very bloody, very scrappy team, in particular in the early game. And we saw Tian attempt multiple ganks. Top lane, bot lane, he tried to get active on the map. But I think that what Dom1 went for was priority everywhere. They had control mid, they had control bot, they had control top. And every time he tried to make a play, they just couldn't. They had vision everywhere and they could spot him out consistently. So Dom1 controlled this FPX aggression in the early game. And every time FPX overstepped, Damwon punished. And it's just felt like absolute dominance from Damwon because it's just felt clean and crisp gameplay from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, the FPX attempts that we saw also were a lot concentrated towards topside. We saw multiple swipes kind of at Khan, not really finding anything. They were unable to punish the Yuumi lane early on. In fact, Ghost and Beryl did exceptionally well, you know, harassing under tower, pushing up, getting priority there. So just really well done by Damwon, and not the openings that you need to see taken advantage on by FPX if they're going to counter this. You know, you have to make use of Kai'Sa, Nautilus, try and get your CC there, get your kill with the Galio coming through, and really commit to some of the all-ins. That has led to a more difficult situation with 23 seconds on the Dragon timer here, being Dragon number 3 for Damwon, and them having full map control.
Oh, Chris.
Uh-oh.
That's not how you play that one. Jumps into a... yeah, he's dead. All right, Pharaoh gets the kill credit. Love to see it. Get him on the board. He's been a pretty important member of the team. Tion flashing to safety, trying to stay alive. Says, all right, I'm dead. Dunk, Gore Drinker, whatever, I'll die. Bullet time because they don't need the cooldown anyway. Just get the kill completed. Now chasing for a little bit more. A couple of members left alive, but they're pushing for mid lane tier 2.
This does not look like a game between two world championship teams. This is a beatdown by Damwon. Oh my goodness, there's just no answers here for FPX. Pillar of filth in front of Chris' face, and
he's
hooks
like,
right into it.
Yeah, that's gonna work.
Jeez, and his Baron started already. All right, here we go.
All right, no jungle alive. They know Tian's gonna respawn in 10 seconds plus the walk, so Smite gonna be unanswered here. Keep it going, no problem. Canyon gonna keep healing up with the Divine Sunderer here as well. They've got Yuumi for good measure if they need it. Now Crisp is in, but again, you cannot smite this one. It's not gonna be really contestable. Just don't screw it up. There's the combo, there's the kill. Okay, how about the team fight? Showmaker, Crisp, just missing constantly. The anchor's too early, gonna get knocked down. Showmaker runs another one on the board, 11-2. And yeah, that's gonna be a good flash for Nuggery, but the chase down is still there. Falls to his old team. He spent 3 years on Damwon, including one in Challenger. They're gonna take him down all the same. They don't need him. They're gonna go for the second trophy here. Looking to start off Worlds with a win.
Yeah, Khan may be the only non-world champion in this game, but
true.
He's clapping all the same here. Beryl jumps on him for a second, gives him a little boost to kill off.
and how devastating is this combo? You get hit by a Yuumi slow, then the MF slow comes on top of you, and you're like, okay, I've gotten away from this one. Then the pillar comes up, so you're forced to flash. There's just no escape. If they've caught you, you are going to die. And FPX find themselves more picks. They find themselves the Baron, and they find themselves with an 11k gold lead in their first game at Worlds.
And just to be sure, let's get on Dragon Soul point. Third Dragon finally claimed, looking at a 30-minute and change Ocean Soul. And let's see if the Red Bull Baron power play includes itself a Nexus. Odds are reasonably high it can happen. They've taken their first reset. They still got 2 minutes to knock down some of the base.
Package deal.
Yeah, with an 11,000 gold lead, you feel like they're going to get a lot done. I don't think they need to play it too slowly.
All right, who's going to scrounge up the money for an Executioners or some kind of Grievous Wounds here? Because we're looking at already massive healing, but also, as you mentioned, an Ocean Soul. And nobody's really got any money. Everybody's just pulling out their pockets. They're just empty, looking at each other. How about you buy it? No, how about you buy it? I mean, come on. It's definitely going to be rough. So here comes that Baron push for the last siege from Damwon.
And this is what we keep seeing from Damwon, this 4-1 setup. They just abandon the third wave, they keep Khan in one, and they send the 4-man stack in the other. Showmaker and Beryl are going to keep dishing out the poke, as you're seeing right now, trying to force FPX away from the tower, and slowly but surely, Damwon is going to break into the base of FPX.
Okay, you can see several top side, Yuumi plus the Showmaker heading down to the bottom side. No poke just yet, but they can't find a route on a Khan. Looking at a wave clear on the bot side, that's all they're going to get as the cannon chips away at top lane. Tian burns the stopwatch, survives a bit of damage, but they're going to get him with round 2. Bullet time lasts long enough. The time is longer than a stopwatch, and so they knock that one down. Kill, turret, and now inhibitor. Top lane is cracked. Still 35 seconds left on Baron. Will they get Nexus with it as well? Only 27 minutes in the game, and Damwon Kia have been slaughtering their chief competition in the group stage as the second inhibitor falls, and with 20 seconds left, they're waiting for the next 2 minutes to come in. Mid-wave almost here, top side coming in soon, and they're backing off and saying, you know what? Nexus will not fall. Let's spend our gold. We've got 1,000 gold per person, basically. Spend it, guarantee it, and knock down bot and get the Dragon Soul.
Yeah, what's kind of crazy is, we're only 27.5 minutes into the game, and yet I feel like Dom1 have controlled all 27.
Yes, they have. And I think it's so important for the context of the group as well, because when we think about Dom1 and FPX, they are the front runners to be making it out of this group. And for Dom1 to start the group with a performance like this, I think really sets the tone for what we can come to expect moving forward in the rest of Group A.
The EU and NA fans salivating here, like, so you're saying we can get out of this group? There's a chance.
Well, what they've done is they've like first pick Yumi. FPX right now don't seem to have an answer, and obviously going away, we'll see how they adapt throughout the tournament, but this pick is something that I think we're going to be seeing a lot more in the group stages, and teams that either have an answer or either ban the champion are going to have to find ways to navigate around.
Yeah, because even losing a ban can sometimes really hamper your draft. If you're ready to pick the champion, you're just down one asset in every champ select, and that can really matter. Here we go, the push on the bottom side. Tien gonna get a locket from Chris, but it's not gonna matter too much. He's going back to the fountain anyway. Showmaker still wants to get a bit more done. Will continue to distortion back, does not want to stay inside the opposing base. Level 16, though, means that's a really big QR chunk if he wants it.
And let's be clear here, too. This stomp is not all afforded to a Yumi pick, right?
That is true.
This team is outplaying across the board on FPX with a lot of the collapses. Yeah, the Yumi was quite essential in some of the chase downs there, especially jumping on Canyon for the second one. But let's take a look at how they finish it out, because it should be only bottom side left.
They're gonna stay in backdoor the turret. Here comes the ultis in, and Crisp is gonna find yet another death. Ults in, the flash to get the root, and that's Nuggery going down as well. Dies to his old team. Khan gonna lifesteal back up, dodges Tien. Dunk comes to the other side of the map and just gonna die to Showmaker anyway. A double kill is in for Ghost, and they're just gonna start taking names. Fun plus Phoenix limited to 2 kills in their opening game of Worlds 2021. Doomy gonna drop as well. They make sure the Fountain doesn't have anything to say about it. And an 18-2 absolute slaughter. Under 30 minutes, Dom1 Kia came to play.
Okay, so winning last year Worlds, second place at MSI this year, and starting out with a statement game here in the group stages of 2021.
And remember that to many, this is seen as a weaker Dom1 than last year. And of course, it's only one game. I'm not going to jump to any conclusions, but what a great way to start. Because already, when you look at like evidence and support, this is a great representation that this Dom1 is clearly not a team that you can afford to underestimate.
Absolutely, because if you go and look back at what happened at MSI, their bot lane was having troubles. You saw it goes, he took a break for 4 matches. The rest of the team just role swapped down. Showmaker held bot lane for a while. Canyon played mid. They brought Malrong in. So Ghost could just reset himself and come back in. And even with him back, the record was not as clean as it was back in spring. It looked like, I'm not going to say a